Hello, America. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. Court is back in session with your guy, Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Make sure you do me a huge favor and support the channel by hitting the subscribe button. If you're watching on TikTok, click follow for great sports content. Thursday night was the big first night for several players in the NFL draft. One player whose name didn't get called last night was Shedeur Sanders. Literally 32 NFL teams decided Shedeur Sanders was too much of an arrogant prick to go in the first round. 32 teams passed on him. I thought what happened last night was a bit of a surprise. It was a bit surprising. And you know, it's interesting because Shedeur Sanders was a prospective top 5 pick, top 10 at worst, right after the season ended. And somehow, over the last few months, anonymous sources have created a smear campaign about him. He's now fallen, and that's how he slipped so far. And then the other thing is most teams just didn't see him as a first rounder. It is what it is. It doesn't mean he can't succeed. I'm a big fan of Shedeur Sanders' game. I think he'll end up making a positive impact on the team that drafts him. People have said that he's cocky, flashy, entitled, mostly negative things about him. They're pushing this false narrative, I feel like. Apparently, he's not that good and was never valued as a first round pick. The fact that he was picked by a team, or the fact that he wasn't picked by a team, knowing most of these teams need a quarterback, is a bit surprising. I mean, in fairness, maybe I shouldn't be surprised by any of this. All the conversation is about a guy that didn't get taken last night. If Shedeur Sanders' last name wasn't Sanders, would anybody be mentioning his name? Shedeur Sanders, some would have suggested was a first round pick. Some at times suggested he should have been the number 1 overall pick. He didn't even go in the first round. Deion's kid was consistently listed as a top 5, top 10 prospect in this year's draft. The media hype, including the mock drafts, had him going high. I had him going high. I looked at so many mock drafts, and many of them had him top 10. Is it that his father is Deion Sanders, or is it that, like so many of you, seem to believe that he's not that good, not a leader? I have heard a lot of different things on him. Oh, his body language sucks. He blames others. He has style and flash, but he's not really that good. Mel Kiper's number 1 quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, is still on the board going into the beginning of the second round. Only 2 quarterbacks drafted last night. Cam Ward, first overall to the Tennessee Titans, was not a surprise, although you don't really hear much about him. Then the Giants trading up to draft Jackson Dart. That was a surprise. I thought maybe the Giants would be the team to take Shedeur Sanders. I want this for him so bad. I want this for Shedeur Sanders so bad. The problem is not everybody sees it that way. I'm very confused by why people truly say he's a second rounder. You're telling me the 2 quarterbacks who went in the first round last night before him are better than him? Jackson Dart is arguably the most overrated quarterback in this draft. Cam Ward, to me, has the potential to be a bust. I'm going to be a nice guy and give both of them the benefit of the doubt. We talked about this, and I even said this last week. Shedeur Sanders has the tools that could make him very successful. Obviously, more more people seem to be concerned about his character, the attitude traits he's displayed. I choose to ignore the red flags, even though he plays the most important position, because I just think that it's all made up nonsense. The thing that's interesting to me is that if you're passing on this guy and he turns out to be this elite quarterback, there's going to be a lot of teams that will regret not drafting him. There's going to be a lot of case studies done on why did people pass on him. Not drafting Shedeur is going to be every team's biggest regret. But to me, that was the first notion that these teams don't like Shedeur, because they're listening to what everybody is saying about him and not forming their own opinions, or doing their homework, or their research, or evaluating this guy. Okay, so nobody gets him. He's still available. And now day 2 is a must watch, because the biggest name hasn't heard his name called yet. I really thought Sanders was in play for the Giants. Why in the world are we passing on this guy? Like, if you saw what he did in college, why are we passing on him? You know what? I feel like, God, I hate to say this, but I mean it. I feel like teams passed on him because he's Deion's kid. You don't think they listen to what these scouts or national pundits are suggesting? I can promise you they do. They have heard you speak. They have heard his dad rant and boast about how good his son is and what they're about to do and all this. They have heard this. I guess evidently at one point for about a day and a half, I guess nobody is a Shedeur Sanders guy. Don't touch him. He's the son of the brash, cocky Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. Oh no, you don't want that guy on your team because he's not a team player. He's all about him. He's arrogant and all this. There have been a ton of players drafted in the first round who had character issues. So don't give me that. Don't give me that crap. So answer me this. Do you really think he's this guy we've paraded him to be? Or is it just that Sanders is secured with who he is? He knows who he is. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. When you're so confident in yourself, it makes people uncomfortable. It's not about his skill or talent. Again, the amount of quarterbacks that we've seen get drafted over the years haven't always been the most humble. And yet now, NFL teams are passing on this young man and trying to humble a confident black quarterback. If I'm a general manager of a team in need of a quarterback, I'll be sitting there saying, we got to take this guy. All the teams that passed on Shedeur are taking a gamble. They're taking a gamble. The teams that passed on him are taking a gamble. The teams that need a quarterback, and if you passed on him and he winds up being an elite level quarterback, again, this will inevitably come back to hunt them. Not a doubt in my mind. They'll be sorry. And for the Giants, the pick will always be revisited because they passed on Sanders to take Dart. I do think a team will pick him in round 2. It's just a question of which team will take him. Maybe the Cleveland Browns. So this is a guessing game for everybody to see where he goes when he'll get drafted and how this fits with him and the organization that gets him. I mean, I don't know. To me, he strikes me as confident as opposed to arrogant. There will be some team out there that think he can be potentially their quarterback of the future. So, it's wait and see. Now, he waits for his faith to be decided going into today and the start of round 2. But I don't know how his prolific 2024 season gets overlooked. I think that's what I always remind people. The guy posted an all-time FBS record with 71.8 career completion percentage. I mean, some people take it as if he's only hyped up because of who his dad is. And some of that may be true. And while he is not a generational can't miss prospect, I still have no doubt he will become a difference maker in the NFL. I guess a lot of people have become some sort of expert at crafting their own narratives and their own beliefs. It all comes from the way he carries himself. That's kind of how he is. And, you know, he projects a sense of confidence that is completely blown out of proportion. What it really is, and nobody want to come out and really say it, but what it really is Shedeur, just like his dad, Dion, is very unapologetic, authentic, and sometimes that will rub people the wrong way. So we ignore the reality of the player he is because we are bothered by his approach, which is different. And a lot of times, something different, it sometimes makes people feel uncomfortable. Being confident isn't about being perfect. It's about believing in yourself no matter what. And Shedeur is a successful kid who is confident in his athletic ability. I think he gets drafted tonight. And I think the two teams to look out for, I think the two teams that will be interested in possibly getting him would be the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think those two teams are great fits for him. I think he will thrive in either Cleveland or Pittsburgh. I would rather go to Pittsburgh, knowing their history with quarterbacks, knowing what Mike Tomlin has done, being able to stay above 500 and everything. I would rather go to a winning team. Pittsburgh Steelers have a history of winning. They always have had a strong defensive unit. So you will be not only would you be the quarterback of that team, but you will be playing behind a pretty good defense as well. So I think Pittsburgh will be the better spot for him, you know, given that history, given that they're in a better position than what the Cleveland Browns are right now. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I can assure you that he will be drafted tonight. I think he'll be selected by a team in the second round tonight. All right, everybody. That ends this video. That wraps things up for right now. I'll be back with more content. I got more NFL draft stuff for you guys today. We got a lot of stuff. I still want to break down round 1. I want to give you my thoughts about round 1. And then I want to talk a little bit more about Travis Hunter. Shedeur Sanders, now former teammate at Colorado. We'll get into that a little bit too as well sometime today. But guys, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. More NBA playoff action today. We got more hockey today. The Kings are on the road in Edmonton, Game 3. They got a chance to take a 3-0 commanding lead in the series. The Lakers got a chance to take a 2-1 lead tonight. They are also on the road in Minnesota. I'm excited about that game tonight as well. But guys, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great Friday. Love y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.